Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope everybody's ready to do some area problems now that we're in our new unit. Good morning. Hopefully we've got some new people joining us as well. Hello, hello. You should have your packet ready. We're still on day 3. We're finishing day 3 today. That's in week 4. So if you followed the directions that I gave you on Monday, you were also checking your answer for number 1, of the classwork. You went to Ms. Mixon's live yesterday and could check your work for this problem. Good morning. Okay, where she plotted those points. Okay, she plotted those points and then showed you the new way that we learned the other day. Remember, we were decomposing shapes. So we're going to work on that a little bit in one of our examples today. And this was one of the main skills that was a great new way they taught us how to find the area of a triangle, that's kind of, maybe flipped a different direction. And so the sides, the base and the height don't line up with the grid lines on the coordinate plane. So they taught us this cool method where if you draw a line around it like a rectangle, then you can find the area of the rectangle, the big rectangle, and then you can take the area of these little triangles that it makes when you add the rectangle around it, and then you subtract those out and you're left with the area of this space. So that's what we did the other day for people that are just joining us. Okay, so we're going to do more of that today. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Good morning. I know people are still transitioning from advisory and getting their breakfast and waking up. So when we did that, this was the example where you took the area of the rectangle and then you had to find the area of 3 triangles. And that was a skill we learned earlier in the unit. And once you subtracted them, we had to create the expression, and you subtracted them, it gave you the area of what was left over. So we did that the other day. We also did this one where we had to break this polygon. It's an irregular shape. They call it irregular because it doesn't meet our rules of the definition of a rectangle or a parallelogram or a triangle. And we can decompose it into shapes that we do know. So if you drew a line here, then you have 2 rectangles, and you can use what you know about finding the area of a rectangle to find the area of the whole thing. And so that's what we did on Monday. So we took the area of the top piece, the area of the bottom piece, and then when you add them together, you get the area of the whole piece. Okay, so that's just a quickie review of what we did the other day. I had also reminded you on Instagram and the other day in class that these were the Khan Academy videos you could watch, and even if you don't have Clever and a laptop, you can still type these right into your phone if you have the Wi-Fi access and watch the videos, and that helps you. These were the tips we talked about the other day that you can't forget. You can't have overlapping pieces when you're trying to find the area of a decomposed shape. Okay, so for example, what they mean is we can't draw this line here, say, and find the area of the big long rectangle, but then also find the area of the whole bottom part, because then they would overlap in this section. So that's what they mean about don't overlap your pieces. And then the key point that's the most important is that when you're drawing the rectangle around the outside shape, the vertices, remember we talked about that's the plural of vertex, okay? The vertex of a triangle is where the 2 rays come together and form an angle. So we have a vertex of a triangle here, here, and here. Okay, so 3 vertices. So that's what they're talking about when they're talking about vertices. But those vertices have to fall onto whatever rectangle you draw. So those lines have to be on or meet at those points. Okay, that's what it means when it says the original shape should be touching the perimeter. Any questions? And then that was the other Khan Academy video. So we're on number 2. You were supposed to do this before class. So hopefully when I do it, you'll be checking your work. Okay, it said plot and connect the points, x, which is negative 10, 2, y, which is negative 3, 6, and z, which is negative 6, negative 5. And we also reviewed the quadrants the other day of the coordinate plane. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So, while people are getting settled, I also wanted to reiterate that term 4 counts. So this work we're doing now for weeks 4 and 5 will count for 4th quarter. So you want to make sure that you're turning in work, DMing me your work. I went in yesterday and graded packets for a couple hours. A lot of you are just, I'll be honest, you're just writing anything. You're not showing any math. Okay, I can tell which ones you've used calculators. I can tell which ones you just wrote an explanation without looking at the numbers. A lot of the keywords and the numbers you would need in every problem weren't underlined. So there wasn't any structure to the problems. People aren't circling their answers. So all of those rules that we've learned all year about how to provide information in a math problem still hold true. So you want to make sure that if you're turning in work that, good morning, if I don't wave, it's not that I'm not trying, I just have a lot to juggle here. But if you're turning in work, besides putting your name on it, don't turn in work that you just circled any answer. Some of you turned in work and circled answers when it wasn't a multiple choice question. It was a multi-step problem to do. There was one about vinegar and people just circled random parts of what they thought was an answer. So you're not reading the questions carefully like we have done all year. So that shouldn't stop when you're turning in your work. Good morning. Make sure you're turning it in. Make sure you underline in the questions everything you're supposed to. We don't talk about that every day because that's a given. That's a habit you should have developed all year if you were doing your work the right way. Underlining the question that they're asking you so that you're answering the question. So don't worry though. You all got some credit for what you turned in. That will be put in the grade book by this weekend. And all of this work now, weeks 4, 5, and 6, and 7, what we get done of them will be, good morning, will be counting for your 4th quarter grades to help your grades for the whole year. She's going to average all the grades together. So it's not the time to quit. Okay, so using the strategy that we learned on Monday. Oh, also you need to pick up your new packets. Friday, our school is open from 10 to 2. And that will be the next packet you'll be using for a lot of your classes. We won't be starting with it yet, but good morning. We won't be starting necessarily with it, but we will be using it after we're done with this packet. Okay, so this was my shape. I took a straight edge because you don't want to just wing it. Excuse me, and I already did it beforehand. I used a straight edge, and after I plotted my points, negative 10, 2, negative 3, 6, and negative 6, 5, I connected them. So again, you were supposed to do this before class, so you should already have that done. Then, because these cut through grid lines, and I can't just count units, because see how this cuts through part of one, and I don't really know what percentage of that it is, and this one cuts through, but then there's a little piece here. So these aren't even exactly half, like sometimes they are. So same with these units. I can't just count units because there's pieces of units in and out of the line. So the method they taught us was to draw a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle from this point over to here where it lines up, because remember these vertices, they said, have to be on the rectangle that you're drawing. Okay, so I took this point, went over here, decided to draw it all the way down here. I stopped at this line because this is in line with this last vertex of the triangle. And then I'm going to take my line to where it lines up with the first point I made. And these problems take a long time. That's why this took us a couple days. These aren't quick problems. That's why I asked you to do them ahead of time. And it takes a little bit of time to explain them. So this method teaches you when you have a triangle that's on kind of an odd angle, let's say, and the bases and heights don't line up with the grid on the coordinate plane, any of the grid lines, then you make a rectangle around it. You take the area of that whole rectangle, and then you find the area of each of these little triangles that we made, and you subtract them, and then you'll have what's left is the area of this. Okay, so we're going to do the same formula we've been doing, which is base times height divided by 2. We know that's the same as multiplying by a half. So remember, your base and height come together in a triangle where there is a 90-degree angle, okay, where they meet and they're perpendicular. That's just the definition. So we talked about that definition last week if you're new. So I'm going to use this as my base, and it's 4 units. I'm going to use this side as my height, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. And I'm going to write my numbers like I've taught you all year. If you write your numbers, then you don't have to keep counting over and over and over, right? Good morning. It says we're on page 7. We're on number 2, page 7, day 3. Okay, this was the one you were supposed to do overnight or since Monday. Ms. Mixon did a nice example of it. She did number 1, so you could go over it on her live. If you're not going to Ms. Mixon's lives, then you're missing out on a component, because remember, her class and my class work together. So just like you always went to see her every day at school, you need to be going to her lives to get information for this class, because she works on the supporting skills, remember? So I'm not sure why the attendance may have dropped off, but you're missing out on the help that you could really be getting. So 4 times 7 is 28, and these are units, and I'll put my units at the end. 28 divided by 2, I know is 14, and this is 14 units squared. I'm just going to put a U for that, okay? So that was my rectangle, my triangle number 1. Then I'll go down here to triangle number 2. I'll make this one number 2, okay? This is the hypotenuse. I'm going to use this as the base, and this is the height, because I'm already facing this direction. I'm going to show you the 90-degree angle where the base and height meet. That's how you know this is a base and this is a height. That's how you know not to use this measurement for the area. So again, this base is 4. This height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks familiar, huh? A base of 4 and 7. So I'm going to use that same answer, right? Why show the work again? Now I have 2 that were the same. They had the same base and the same height. Could I be so lucky on number 3? Nope, this looks like it's a little bit of a different shape. Again, good morning. So I'll use this as my base. The base and height come together at a 90-degree angle. I'm just going to draw that to prove that to you. So my base here is 3 units. 1, 2, 3. My height is longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this whole side is 11 units. Okay. So I have a base of 3, a height of 11, divided by 2. That's 33 divided by 2. Let's get a piece of scratch paper since I'm running out of room. 33 divided by 2. Remember, I'm using my Does McDonald's Sell Cheeseburgers? I'm checking. That's less, so I can bring this down. Let's see, 2 times 6 is 12. So I have 16 and a half. Or I could do it as a decimal, 16 and a half. So I have 1 triangle, 2 triangles, and 3 triangles. 16.5 units squared. Okay? Those are the areas of my 3 triangles. Now, the area of my rectangle, we know the area of the rectangle is length times width. Okay? We already know from counting this number of units for this triangle that this whole side is 11. We already know we could either use the top or the bottom. We've already counted all the units for the width of the rectangle, so we know that's 7. So if we have a length of 11 units and a width of 7 units, and we know our 11s, so we know 7 times 11 is 77. Good morning, good morning. So now we're going to take this whole area of the whole piece and subtract out these little pieces. So if I have 77 units squared minus 14, 14, and 16.5, I'm actually going to combine these two that are 14, right? Because I know 2 times 14 is 28. Oops, sorry, minus 16.5. So, who can tell me then, what is 77 minus 28 minus 16.5? You can type it in the comments, because remember, you did this one ahead of time, right? Good morning, good morning. You did this before class. This was the one that was your homework. So what do we get as our answer? You can just type it in the comments. We took the area of the whole thing. We're taking this piece away, and this piece away, and we're going to be left with the area of this, which is what the question asked us. It said, name the polygon. Well, we didn't write it down yet, but we already did that. We said this was a triangle, right? And it said determine the area. So, who has an answer? I'm not seeing any answers yet, so. I can wait a second. I don't want to waste this time, but I'll wait. Hopefully you guys were part of advisory today. If not, you might want to make sure you go ahead and watch that, especially those kids that are in Avid or want to be in Avid. Ms. Strickland was very clear that people's activity during distance learning will affect their ability to be in Avid next year. We have lots of kids that have been really, really putting in a ton of effort and really want to take your place in Avid. So just because you were in it this year doesn't mean you get to stay. So we really need to step up, especially during this 4th quarter. Are you supposed to write this down? I mean, you were supposed to do it before class. So if you didn't write it down and you're not sure how to do it, then I would recommend writing it down. But I'm waiting for someone to tell me what the answer is. Nobody has the answer? Okay, well, I guess we'll wait till somebody has that answer. And we'll start on number 3. Because remember, we were going over that. That was your homework. That was from the other day. Good morning. I guess we'll come back to that answer. So when somebody has the answer of 77 units minus 28 units minus 16.5 units, all those units are squared, and you have the answer for the area of that, then you can type that in actually as your attendance question. You can DM me at the end what the answer is to that. Okay? Great. Maybe we'll just have Ms. Mixon go over those answers then, because I can see people aren't necessarily doing their work ahead of time if nobody has the answer out of all these people, more than 20. So, and good morning to new students. So now we're on number 3. Okay? 2 of the coordinates of a rectangle are point A, 3, 7, and B, 3, 2. The rectangle has an area of 30 square units. So they're already giving you the area of the whole shape. Good morning, honey. Good morning. Give the possibles in italics, locations of the other two vertices by identifying their coordinates. Use the coordinate plane to draw and check your answer. Okay, so they also have a little note here. I can find the length of one side of the rectangle between points A and B. I know this length times the width will give me the area. So they're reminding you how they found the answer in square units, okay? Just like we did here. So I plotted those 2 points. Okay. Hi, honey. Yeah, if you have questions after because I'm moving on too fast for you, then you can, again, kids DM me, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me. There's lots of ways people have gotten in touch if they don't understand. There's tutoring available. There's lots of different things. Ms. Mixon goes over these problems. So there's lots of different ways. So don't be frustrated. You have to make sure you're doing the right work ahead of time and then paying attention. So point A was 3, 7. That's point A. Point B was 3, 2. And remember, I told you this year, and I'm sure Ms. Mixon did, that you're always going to label your points. Again, I don't want to have to keep counting over. Was this 3, 2? Was this 3, 3? What did I count? So make sure you label it. Yep. I said you can DM the right answer afterwards as your attendance, the answer for number 2. Especially since I just did it for you and showed you how to do it. So you'll just have to finish calculating the answer if you hadn't done it ahead of time. So when they said possible locations, it's because we could have a rectangle. If this is one line of it, we could have a rectangle that goes this way, or we could have a rectangle that goes this way. So we're going to have to find all of those possible locations of the other two vertices. And remember, the vertices are the corners where the lines come together. So they've already given us 2, okay? And they've told us the area is 30 square units, right? So if this is the length, it says, I know the length times the width gives me the area. So if we already have this and it's the length, let's say, we know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, right? That's 5 units long. Again, the other way we learned was you take the y value, the 7, and subtract the 2. 7 minus 2 gives you 5, okay? Let's be nice to each other. Okay, let's pay attention to what we're doing. That's more important. So, if I know this length is 5, okay, and I'll write down here, length times width is area. So now this is a little more of an advanced skill. They've given us the area, 30 units squared, okay? And they've given us a length, what we're calling a length of 5 units. And we don't know the width. Who can tell me what the width would have to be of this rectangle in order to get an area of 30 units? You can just type it into the comments. What would you have to multiply by 5 units to get 30 units squared for your whole rectangle? That's going to tell us how long to draw our line. Good. I've got Brooklyn answering. I've got some people with thumbs up, but I need a number. Don't just copy other people's numbers. Good. Yeah. 5 times 6 would give us 30, right? That's one of the ones you have memorized. So, because this is already 5, I'm going to take this and I'm going to use a dotted line just to show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and I have to go out 1 extra. So this might be a spot. That could be a spot. And because it's a rectangle, I'd have to go out 5 at the top. I mean 6 at the top, sorry. I'm going to call that D, because they already started A, B, C, D. Remember how we named shapes? You learned that years ago. And I would, connect these dots. Sorry, my grid didn't go. I had to make do with what I had at home. For my grid paper, that would be big enough that you could see. So, you guys have the grid that they gave you, so you have plenty of space. Okay, so if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, and this is 5, 6 times 5 would give me 30 units squared, because units times units, remember, gives us our units squared. And again, if you wanted to double check, you could just count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and so on. Okay, so we know we're correct. But it also told us, there's another possible location. If the area is 30 units, and those are the 2 points they gave us, what if the lines went this direction? Okay, and they might. So we know it has to be 6 units long, so we could count over 6 units here. And I'm going to give them different letters, A, B, we did C, D. We'll use this as point E. 1, 2, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6 units. I'll just call that F. I'm just connecting my dots. So I would have another possible rectangle where this length is 5 and the width is 6, and 5 times 6 is 30 units squared. Okay, so that's what it meant. If this one was tricky for you, that's what it meant about possible locations. Okay, this is the kind of problem you would see in geometry on the PARCC test. Okay, so this is one possible rectangle. This is another. Now it said, give the possible locations of the other 2 vertices by identifying their coordinates. So that's the trick now, is we have to find the coordinates of these points. Okay, so that's what they're looking for in your answer. You're going to have, what are the pairs of numbers that make up these 2 points and that make up these 2 points. So remember, if you start at the origin, I'll use B as an example. You go over 3 for a positive 3, and then you go up 2 units for a positive 2. That's how we got there. So who wants to tell me what this point would be? Point C. Let's start with that. Okay, so does anybody want to jump on live and explain to me what they think that point would be? Everybody's so shy today. Anybody want to jump on? Good morning, hello. Oh, people are jumping off. That's not good. Okay, people are typing it in. Somebody said 8 and then 2. So let's see. If I started at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're close. And then up 2, sorry, it actually puts me here. So this is 1 more unit. This would have to be 9. 9 and 2. Because if this is a 3 and you're adding 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're adding 6 to it, you're at 9 and 2. Okay? Good job on that, though. Okay, so it's not 8, 2. It's actually 9, 2. Because 3 plus, we know it's 6 across. 3 plus 6 gives you 9, not 8. Right? This side was 6 units. So, think about what we talked about how we found this length with the units 3, 2 and 3, 7. We talked about how you can take their y value and subtract. So if this point is 3, 2, and this is 3, 7, okay, they have the same x value. And this is 9, 2. What does this point have to be? Good morning, good morning. Yeah, don't talk to each other, talk to me. Let's talk about the math, please. Let's keep it professional. Term 4 counts, so let's get the grades. A lot of you aren't ever doing your exit tickets and showing me, DMing me your answers on your exit tickets. That all counts. The do nows count. Today there wasn't one. The do now today was to finish problem 1 and 2. But I know who was on Ms. Mixon's live. So I'm just talking to everybody about grades. Term 4 counts. You heard Ms. Strickland. I'm waiting for someone to type in then. If this is 3, 2, good morning, and 3, 7, and they share the same x value, then we said this is 9, 2. Remember? Yeah, my line just didn't go all the way out. These 2 points have to share the same x value also, don't they? We learned this in class. This is a review of the coordinate plane. If this point C and D are in a straight line on the coordinate plane, don't they share the same x value? Right? If I had to count from the origin, if I had to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to get to this point, I also had to count out 9 to get to point D, that we made. So this x value would be 9. What would the y value be? So your dean is watching, ladies and gentlemen. So when you're making rude comments to each other and not doing the math, that's going to hurt you. Yes, thank you. 7. We've got some new students joining in, doing a nice job. Thank you. If this is at the same height as this point, then they have the same y value, right? If you're going up from the origin, up the y-axis to the same level, then the 2 that are in the same level have to have the same y value. Just like the 2 that are in the same vertical line here have the same x value. 3 and 3, 9 and 9. Okay? So then the same holds true on this side, except now we're on the negative side of the x-axis, right? Because we're in which quadrant? Which quadrant is this? Just type it in. Type in the number in the comments. See, guys, on Monday, we're moving on to the next day. And if we haven't finished this, it's just going to be more for you to have to do on your own. So if you're not using the time wisely for me to help you, it's going to be a problem. So thank you. Thank you. This is Quadrant 2. So we know in Quadrant 2, all the numbers in Quadrant 2, again, we reviewed it again the other day, are negative and then positive. Because you're starting at the origin, you have to go to the negative side of the number line of your x-axis. Remember, my x I drew over here, right? But this is the x-axis. And then you're going up into the positive part of the y-axis. So all of my points in these pairs are going to be a negative number and then a positive number. So, but remember, you're starting from the origin. You're not starting, in this case, we were in the same quadrant. So we had already counted from 0, 3, and then we could just count 6 more and get to 9. We can't do that here. We can't count from 3 and go up here because we know that this point E, you have to start at the origin. We're going over how many, and then we're going up how many. And that's the number we're going to put here and make sure you have the right sign. So type in what number point E is. Type in the points. Good. We've got some right answers. Again, don't just copy what somebody puts. Actually think it through. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, somebody put 7, -3. We're not counting it from B. You always count your points from the origin. Remember? 0, 0. Start at 0. We're going to go left 3 to get in line with this E that we made, and then we're going to go up 2. Oh, the page number, honey, this is still day 3. Page number, I think it said 9. Page number 9. And this is week 4. Okay. Good morning. Oh, good morning. So if this is -3, 2, and point F is in line with this point, one of these two numbers is going to be the same as here. Let me make this negative clear. Okay, so good. People corrected it. -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. It's -3, 7, people wrote. Good job. Because remember, the length of this side of the rectangle was 5. So this is the parallel congruent side of the rectangle. So that's 5. So 2 plus 5 is 7. And they're both in the same line from the origin, right? So they both share the same x value. Good morning, good morning. So they both start with a -3 because you're counting to the left, 3 from the origin, 3 and then up to +2 to here, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you get -3, 7. Okay, great job. Any questions on that one? That's number 3. Okay, so last but not least, before your exit ticket, this is number. Is this the wrong paper? It's just scrolling the wrong way for me. So let me try to do this. So okay, that's the right one. That was number 3. Now we're on number 4. Now, again, you already have your shape drawn out. So I pre-drew mine to save time. I'm gonna have to scan back for it. Okay? Because I have this bigger grid paper that I'm trying to show you. So, this is the technique. We learned this at the beginning of the year when we've talked with other shapes on the coordinate plane. Okay? And I just drew the shape. So, what I'm going to have to do is decompose this into more than one rectangle in order to find the area. Now, again, we all know the baby way would be, oh, we can just count the squares, but that's not necessarily what they're going to ask you to do on Park. They're not going to make it that easy, okay? So we're not going to do that because there's a better way to do it. But what I've already done on my picture is what you should have already done on yours, which is, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. If you already count your units and label it, then you don't have to keep going back and back and back and counting over and over and over. You guys used to get sick of me saying that. You know, don't do things over and over and over. Let's make it easy and efficient. So this should be 9 units long, and I had to make an extension on my paper. This side is 5 units, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I wrote a 14 here. I counted across. I put a 13 here. I counted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put a 7 here. I put a 2, and I put a 2. I may not use all of these, okay? But I know that if I do this now, you're still confused, okay? What are you confused about, honey? This is the shape you have, and you're going to have to find the area. So you're going to have to break it into parts. Okay, we're going to break it into parts. We haven't done it yet, so it shouldn't be confusing yet. We did this the other day in the lesson. There were also Khan Academy videos to watch about it, where when you have an irregular shape, you can divide it into shapes you know. In our case, probably rectangles or squares. And then we can just take the length times the width of those and add them together. And that's what we did the other day. So we're just finishing that in the next few minutes. Okay? And we don't have a lot of time, so we want to make use of our time. Okay? So, I'm going to break this here. Oh. So I'm going to draw a dotted line. And I'm going to break it here. That's how I've decided to do it. You could break it here, and you could break it here. Those are bigger numbers, okay? You could break it into more shapes, which doesn't really make sense and utilize your time well, okay? So, I have this little piece. I have this big piece, and then I have this other rectangle. So, the area of a rectangle, length times width. Okay, you learned that in 5th grade. That's not a 6th grade skill. The only 6th grade skill here is that now you have to take and use that 3 different times in the same shape and add them all together. So that can be trickier. Okay? So, rectangle 1, it's actually a square. 2 times 2, it's 4 units squared. Okay, because units times units is units squared. I just wrote out, for the sake of time, 4 units squared. That's rectangle 1, piece 1. Then I have this long rectangle, okay? So I can't use 7 as my width of this because this is a different shape now. So now I have to use this piece, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Just 5 units. I'm going to put a U, UN for units. Okay? And it makes sense. The whole piece was 7. I took away 2. 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay? So I have a length of 13 and then a width of 5. And that'll give me the area of all of this. So, 13 units times 5 units equals how many units squared? Yes, it is 2 to the 2nd power. Thank you, but we're not even going to use exponents right now. Just type in your answer. What's 13 times 5? We didn't learn our 13s, most of us. Some people did. So, again, don't be too proud. Just multiply. What's 13 times 5? Good. Can I go slower? Okay. The problem is I can't go so slow that for you to, not be able to ask questions and make it in our time. So that's why we have all that extra time that you can contact us if you need extra help. Okay? And you can rewatch it if you want to just copy notes. Okay? Which part do you need me to go slower? 13 times 5. That's not a 6th grade skill. And a bunch of people solved it. So that's 65 units squared. That's this whole piece. So now I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And now I have one more rectangle to go. Okay? So I measured this width as 5. I'm not going to use my 14 because remember, 14 was this whole piece. Not a very good bracket. It's hard to do with one hand. I know it looks easier than it really is. But here I had already counted the length of this on this side as 9 units. So I'm going to use my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 units as my length. Because remember, area is length times width. 5 is my width. What's 9 times 5? You can type it in. Nine times 5, we only have a couple minutes left. 9 times 5. Thank you. Units times units is units squared. 9 times 5 is 45. Am I done with my problem? Nope, not at all. But you can see, in the packets you turned in, a lot of the park problems were like this. There were lots of different parts, and people weren't doing all the parts. Now, to determine the area, and we haven't even gotten to the perimeter yet, the area of the polygon, now we have to take all of these areas and add them together, right? So we're going to add 4 units squared plus 65 units squared plus 45 units squared. Sorry, that's slipping. Now, you know I don't add when they're horizontally, so then just write them the direction you need for your scratch work. That was another thing. Stop erasing your scratch work, sillies. People would turn in packets and erase all the work. That's what you get graded on, is the work. You're not graded on the right answers. You're graded on the work. I've said that all year, right? We know that. You're graded on the work, not the answers. Six plus 4 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I get 114 units squared. Is that correct? Looks good. So that, my friends, would be the area of this whole crazy looking shape. Okay? Perimeter, again, perimeter is a 5th grade skill that you already learned. The perimeter, remember we reviewed the other day, is the length of the outside of the shape, the distance of the outside of the shape. So all you have to do, when we wrote down all these numbers for the outside pieces, okay, for those that wondered why we did that, you need to add all those up. Make sure you start in one place and end in one place, and add those together to get your perimeter. Okay? Any questions? And then you're going to put your perimeter and area on your paper. Then you're going to, on your own time, do your exit tickets. Every day there's been an exit ticket. Every day in the packets there's an exit ticket. If you haven't had it, I've posted it. Okay? Some people have gotten it in Teams or Canvas. This exit ticket, I believe, only has 2 problems. There's 1 and 2. They look very familiar. This one you're going to find the area and the perimeter. This one you're going to find the area. That's the key. Show all your work. Nothing's changed since we've been out of school. Again, that's what we grade on in math, is the work. It's not always about how pretty the final product is, as you know. We're not looking for a final draft. We're looking for the work. Okay? So that's your exit ticket. It's still in the packet. Same place they've been since we've been doing these packets. That's on page 9. Okay? You're also going to have a do now to do for Monday. You have several days. I know people are already jumping off. So your answer to the area of this problem, okay, you can DM me that for your attendance. And make sure, if you have access to iReady and Khan Academy, I said that I would grade those until Friday, Saturday, I think Friday. So you have through Friday to still get grades improved for 3rd quarter. All of this work will count for 4th quarter. And yes, 4th term counts. Okay? Especially those of you that want to get into Avid or are in Avid. So, any questions? Okay. I hope you have a great weekend, If you need me, you know how to contact me, and see you soon.